Hello and welcome to the history of Babylon 5. Today's episode, Emperor Cartagia. Cartagia was emperor of the Centauri Republic from 2259 until early 2261, near the end of the Second Shadow War. Cartagia was an unremarkable child according to Londo Mollari, who encountered Cartagia briefly on 3 occasions during his early days at the royal court. As an adult, he assumed the throne after his uncle Turin died in 2259. When installed by a group of Centauri politicians led by Lord Rifa and Mollari, he acted as, essentially, a powerless figurehead. However, he gradually amassed near absolute power. After defeating the Narn in a series of quick strikes aided by the Shadows and illegal mass drivers, Cartagia's government undertook military campaigns against other races bordering Centauri Prime. In 2260, Cartagia sent one of his closest ministers of state to Babylon 5 to settle the growing feud between his 2 strongest supporters, Rifa and Mollari, who was still Centauri ambassador on the station. Cartagia didn't care about either side, he just wanted a hasty resolution. When Rifa was killed on the Narn homeworld with an apparent evidence of attempted treason, the matter was settled in Londo's favor. But Cartagia had taken a keener interest in the feud than he let on. Having heard rumors that Mollari had once poisoned Rifa, and suspecting a connection with the recent murder by poison of Adira, a dancer whom Mollari loved, he secretly commissioned Durano, his Minister of Intelligence, to investigate the affair. In early 2261, Cartagia had Ambassador Mollari recalled to Centauri Prime and appoint him as advisor on the planetary security. When he arrived, Mollari found the young emperor, whom he had not seen since those early days, rather eccentric, hedonistic, and even childish. However, aside from having his crest of hair cut down to the length of a lower class, in order to pass among his people unnoticed, he seemed harmless. Then Mollari learned from Morden and the Shadows, reeling from the events on Zahadum, have been allowed by Cartagia to establish a base on Centauri homeworld. Mollari expressed his concern to the Minister of Protocol, Milo Verini, who explained that though the Centaurum had tried to oppose Cartagia, all of his opposition had since disappeared, with rumors being that the Emperor has hidden their heads in a secret room, where he spoke to them on a regular basis. Mollari discovered this rumor to be true. It was sometime during this period that Cartagia learned from Durano it was Morden who commissioned the murder of Adira, not Rifa, as Mollari believed. But for his own reasons, he decided to keep this secret to himself. It was around this time that Mollari learned from Captain John Sheridan of Babylon 5 that the Vorlons were employing a new strategy against the Shadows, utterly destroying any planet with even the slightest taint of shadow influence. When Mollari informed Cartagia of this, he resolutely refused to evict the Shadows from Centauri Prime, explaining that they had agreed to reward his assistance by turning him into a deity. Cartagia also explained that the Vorlons would help his plans for deification by turning Centauri Prime into a massive inauguration pyre. During these events, Jakar was captured and brought to Centauri Prime. The Emperor immediately summoned Mollari to the royal court, and presented him with Jakar in chains. And we'll be right back after this. The Emperor said that he was making a gift of Jakar to Mollari, presumably so that Mollari could torture and punish him. Outwardly, Mollari thanked the Emperor. In truth, however, he was repulsed by the idea. In fact, Mollari did his best to shield Jakar from harm. Jakar was visited by Mollari in his cell. The two proceeded to come to an agreement in return for Jakar's assistance in the plot to assassinate Cartagia. Mollari would end the Centauri occupation on Narn. As time passed, Cartagia's love of pleasure seemed to outweigh his sense of duty. His various indulgent pursuits included sharing clothing with Centauri women and shooting a jester just for the fun of it. But despite what he initially said to Mollari about Jakar being a gift, Cartagia grew to hate the Narn's strong spirit and sought to break him, wanting to hear one scream from the proud Narn. To this end, Cartagia had Jakar mercilessly tortured, and all the while Jakar refused to scream or give in to the pain. Malari secretly advised Jakar to give in for fear that he would eventually be killed. Eventually, Cartagia subjected Jakar to the worst torture of all, being given 40 lashes with the dreaded electro-whip, unless he gave the Emperor the scream he wanted. Having been warned that he would not likely survive after 40 lashes of the electro-whip, Jakar held up until the 39th lash before he finally gave Cartagia his desired scream, if only to save the lives of his people as well as his own. Not long afterwards, Malari convinced Cartagia to take Jakar to Narn and execute him there, ensuring that people would witness and still remember his greatness and worship him after Centauri Prime is destroyed. Malari hoped to draw the Emperor away from the royal court, leaving him more vulnerable before they left Centauri Prime. Cartagia asked Malari for advice, because he did not like the way Jakar looked at him. When Malari unthinkingly told Cartagia to do as he thought best, the Emperor proceeded to have one of Jakar's eyes plucked out. When they arrived on Narn, Cartagia was pleasantly surprised to discover a palace built in imitation of his own waiting for him. He informed Malari that he had chosen him to survive and become his high priest after his ascension to deity. As soon as Cartagia set up court, he planned to have Jakar paraded and killed in front of the local Narns to break their spirits. However, Malari had arranged for the chains on Jakar's restraints to be weakened in order for Jakar to break free and distract Cartagia long enough for Malari to act. He would then secretly inject a poison into Cartagia that would cause the Emperor's cardiovascular system to shut down nearly instantaneously. And we'll be right back after this. Despite Cartagia noticing that Jakar's chains looked weak and having them changed for stronger ones before his trial, Jakar managed to break free and began fighting with the guards. And in the following commotion, Malari escorted Cartagia away from the fight and prepared to inject the poison into him. Cartagia went into a fit of rage about how this was not part of his destiny, and reacting to being told to quiet down by Malari. He turned and punched him, knocking the device away. Cartagia grabbed Malari in a stranglehold, ranting about his ministers deserving to be burned with the rest of Centauri for failing to see his greatness. As Cartagia shoved Malari to the ground and turned to walk away, he was stabbed between his hearts with the poison dispenser by Londo's assistant, Vir, who had picked it up during the struggle. Although he grabbed Vir by the throat, he collapsed into unconsciousness, moaning that his dream of becoming a god would never be realized. Shortly after this, the Imperial Guards found Cartagia, supported by Malari and Cato. Malari explained that the Emperor had collapsed, and that he believed his hearts had failed. Although he was attended by the royal physician, Cartagia was unable to be revived, and the official cause of death was stated to be heart failure. Malari kept his promise to Jakar by explaining to the court that the Centauri's dealings with the Narn have now resulted in the death of 2 emperors, and that Cartagia would interpret this as a sign from the gods to leave. Shortly afterwards, the Centauri withdrew from the Narn homeworld. Hey, thank you for watching the history of Babylon 5. And we'll be right back after this. Hey, thank you for watching the history of Babylon 5. Special thanks to the Babylon Project for all information you heard today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you can. If you have, thank you. And have a great day. Bye-bye.